Hello, I'm Roger McBride from McBride Fencing Innovations. I'm going to do something here today that I've not done before. I'm going to try to draw a few fields that I've been in on this dry erase board and show you how simple it is to build rotational grazing fencing using reel stands. And there's a couple of things I want to tell you about that I'm going to be using. This is a reel stand that I'm talking about, and when I draw this reel stand on this board, this orange reel stand, I'm going to use an orange marker, and I'm just going to make a straight line. This line represents this reel stand, and I'll have it facing the direction left or right or up and down. And so I'm going to use a red marker to draw where I've got reel stands placed. When I hang a reel on this stand, this is the reel, and when I hang a reel stand on it, it'll be like that, and sometimes I may have one on each side. What I'm going to do for the reel stand, the reel itself, is I'm going to make a solid mark. So I've got a reel stand and a reel here would be facing that direction. I may have a reel on the other side. So I'm going to make a solid black mark for the reel itself. Okay. I'm going to be using, tread-in post, and these are real nice. We call them a pigtail, I call them a big loop, and I like to use some of these, especially in turns. So I'm going to draw for this pigtail post just a circle. I'm just going to use a circle like that, and of course there'll be a wire running through here, so it'll look like something like that. Pigtail post. This post here is just a regular tread-in post that we'll use a lot on straightaways. I'm not going to draw anything for this. As long as I've got a wire running, a straight line, such as this, you'll put these posts in accordingly. But I use the eyelet, the big eyelet post, or the pigtail, if you will, on turns, and I'll draw some of these in. I just wanted you to see some of these codes that I'm going to use on this board. Another one I'm going to use is the clips, the jumper. We call them jumpers, and they work real good. And for this jumper, I'm going to make just like a U. And actually it'll be back here on the reel stand. I'll be connecting one reel to another reel with a jumper. And I'll just kind of make a U, and that U represents the jumper. Okay, a lot of times when we're building a fence out in the field, we'll have a reel stand, and it'll be going to another reel stand, the reel. And a lot of times when you get to the other end, you've got your gate handle. This is the gate handle on the wire, the ribbon itself. And what I do is I use these plastic, and they'll just hook. They'll hook on this reel stand, just like that. And what I'll do is I'll just take the gate handle from the ribbon, coming from another direction, and just hang it. So that's what it looks like. And then I'll put my jumper from up here back to the wire here, if I need to jump from this one to this reel here from the back. Okay, I've drawn a field that I'm going to show. This is a very simple field. We actually done a video on this in the field, but we had to fight the sunlight, and I really didn't get to show the paddocks very well. I'm still putting it on the internet. This is a field. This was our field, and we've got a creek. Of course, the cattle come in the gate. This is the gate right here. This is the gate. This is the gate right here. Okay, and the cattle enter this field at this gate. And to paddock this field off, what I did, we've got a mineral feeder that's stationed here. The water is on the outside of the field, the water. So they're coming into this field, they water on the outside. So what I do is I built me a fence to make the paddocks into this field. Okay, so I come in here and I put a reel stand here, like close to the fence. This is the border fence all the way around. And then I hang a reel on this reel stand, okay? And I ran my wire, and I made kind of a half moon type thing over to this fence, okay? And on this fence here, you have an option. You can hang the reel on the existing fence. It depends on what you have. I like to use a reel stand. So I put a reel stand over here. And it comes right into this reel. So I've actually closed the entire field off with this thing right here. I've got a reel stand and one reel comes all the way over to here with a reel stand, okay? And I just took the plastic, I just took my gate handle and the plastic piece into the reel stand on this end. And on this end, I just put a jumper. I'll put a jumper right here from my electric. This is electric. Our border is electric here. We have electric all the way across here and even electric up here. We do not have electric on this upper end. So what I'm showing is the cattle come into the fence at the field, and I've got them shut plumb off, okay? Now what I've got here is I've got these little, I use little pigtail posts. So I'm just going to draw a few circles. These are the pigtail posts that I put in, right here. Okay. Now, on the other side of these pigtail posts, I'm going to start putting in reel stands. And I'm going to use one here. I'll put in one here. And I'll put in one here, just to show. Okay. Now, the cattle are here. I've got their mineral feeders, so I want everything. This is the central location. So when they go out of a paddock, they're going into where they can get water. So what I do next is I open up my fence. I'm going to put a reel stand here on this one, and I'm going to go to my fence and hang my gate handle on this fence. Now ours is electric. I don't use them. I like to use the plastic handle up here. I want to use jumpers. I want everything to be made to where I can do it down here at the bottom. Okay? So what I do is when I'll open this one up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this black right here. Okay, I've still got my reel stand set here. Now what I'm going to do is I roll this one up. And I bring my reel, the wire, right to the back of this and hook it in, that plastic, my gate handle, right here. And then I'm going to put a jumper here, okay? So when the cattle come in here, this is paddock number 1. It's open, so the cattle can come on into paddock 1. And you leave them in here as many days as you want to. Now, when paddock 1 is done, okay, I'm going to take them and I'm going to move them to paddock 2. So what I'm going to do is I just unhook the wire off of this reel stand, and I'll bring it back through here, okay, and I will hook it into this reel, and I'll have a reel here, and I'll have it going this way, whichever direction you want to go to make your paddocks, okay? Now, then this will be paddock number 2. I'm going to have a reel here, going to the fence. This will be number 3. And I've always said I like to do 3 paddocks at a time. So right now, number 1 is open. The cattle are in number 1. I've opened number 2 while the cattle are still in number 1, and then I can get the cattle out of number 1. Just bring them back out. And what I'm going to do when I bring them out, I've got a reel stand here, and I'm going to hang a reel on this stand and go over to here, go through this post, and go to here and close number 1. So I've got a jumper. I'll have a jumper here, and I'll have a jumper here on this one. So I close 1. 2 is open, so the cattle are getting a drink or whatever. They can come back and get in number 2. Okay, I'm going to leave them in number 2 a while. And when they're done here, all I'm going to do is unhook it, take the wire back, and keep it coming through these pigtail posts, big eyelet post, and come right in here, and I'll hook it to this reel. and then I'll get the cattle out of here. And then I'll take this one off of this one, and I'll bring it up and go through this same post, hook it in the back. So it's an open and close. It's an open and closed system. Every time I take them out of one paddock, I'm going to take them out of the paddock, I'm going to close it. This reel stand over here is my opener. This one I'll say is my closer. So I've got a reel here and a reel here. So every time I'm moving them around this area, I'll open one and close one. Now, when I get them into paddock number 3, let's say I'm done here, I've closed this one, I've got to open this one, okay? I've opened number 3, and this is closed. Coming from this reel over here, it's closed. Once I get them in number 3, if you're done with number 1, you've took the jumper off because it's gone. It's no longer needed. So I take number 1 out. I remove this whole piece here from number 1. And then I just move number 1 down here somewhere, and I'll put my reel stand in here, and then I'll build my wire, hang a reel here, hang a reel, and then take my wire on to the fence. Okay? So this is number 4. 1 is gone. It's no longer there. Okay? And then when I move my cattle from number 3 to number 4, I'll move this one back and hook it in here, right there. So this one's gone. Then I come over here and move this one to close 3 off. So I'm always opening back. I roll this up and reel this one out to close. So it's an open and closed system. Okay, this will be the segment number 2. This was a field that we were in that had a water tank in the field. It was a Ritchie tank. It's just one brand. They have others, but they had a water tank in it in this field, and they wanted to paddock the field off. And I don't hardly know how you would. Every time you run a paddock, you would have to go around the water. Every paddock that you had in this field would somehow have to go above it and around, or when you get up above, you go below it. But every paddock would have to go to the water. So we're going to use reel stands in a field like this. And what I've done, the cattle come in the gates to enter the field here with the water in the field. So what I've done is I put 2 reel stands here, and then I hung a reel on both of them. And I took the wire, unlashed them, and I took the wire down to this fence. And on this one here, I come around and I took the gate handle to just to the other side of the gate. So what I've done is I made a lane to the water tank. Okay? Now after that, what I do now is on the other side of the reel stand, I'm going to hang another reel here, hang another reel. So I've got a reel on both sides. Okay? And then after that, and this is the water tank, I'm going to put my little old post, one of these pigtail posts, and unlatch my wire and run it right through that pigtail post, and then I'm going to make a turn and I'm going to come out. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make a circle all the way around the water tank and come right back in to this reel stand on this other side, and just hook my plastic into the plastic handle on this reel stand. Okay, so now I've got a circle. And in this circle, I'm going to use the pigtail post. That's what I'm going to use, pigtail post, all the way around the circle. Okay, like that. Okay, after I've put in my pigtail post around the circle, I put them in as I go, of course, and I kind of make a circle around the water tank. And then I've just got it hooked into my plastic on this reel stand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in reel stands here, and I'll just put in one up here, and I may put one up here, okay? We're going on the outside of the circle to make our paddocks. Now, I'll hang me a reel here, I'll hang me one here, and I'll hang me one here. And then I'll put my wire, bring my wire, unlatch the reel, and bring the wire to this fence. I'll do the same thing up here. This will be paddock 1. This will be paddock 2. I'll put one up here, and this is paddock 3. Okay, Now all I'm going to do, I've got a reel right here. I've got a reel on both sides of this stand. And this reel and the wire comes through this little loop, goes all the way around the circle. On this side it just hooks in to my reel stand. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up paddock number 1. And all I do is unlock it and I hook it here. And then tighten it up over here, around the horn, around this circle. I tighten this one up. Paddock 1, the cattle come in the lane, around the water, they come right into paddock number 1. Okay, it's the same system as we used on the other scenario, the other field. It's open and close system. So this one is open, the cattle eat here. When I decide that they're done, I can go ahead and open paddock number 2. So all I'm going to do is just hook it in here and tighten up my wire, tighten this one up. I will get the cattle out, and then once I get the cattle out, they're into this area. They can actually come into paddock 2, but they're in the water area. Then I'm going to hang another reel here and unlatch it, and I'm going to take it to here and close paddock 1. Okay? When I get to the other one, when paddock 2 is done, I'll come up here and go ahead and open paddock 3. Open it, tighten up the wire on this reel, and then I'll get the cattle out of 2. They're out in here. They can go into 3. But once they're out of number 2, I'm going to unlatch this reel. I'm going to unlatch this reel, take it off here, and come right on up to this one and hook it in this one. So I've closed number 2. And you just continue to do this. Once you get them in number 3, you take number 1 out and move it over to here. And then you just put in another reel stand and hang a reel here and make your another paddock. So that would be paddock number 4. And you do this all the way around. So every time you take them, move one from 3 to 4, you take 1 out and move it. You take number 2 out and move it as you go around the circle. It's very simple. It works very well.